Hello everybody, Dragon47 here. How is it going? Today we're actually going to be talking about another one of my favorites for the Open Great League, Alteria. Alteria is a super solid Pokemon because it is one of those bulky DPSs that doesn't quite act like a tank, but doesn't quite act as a normal DPS either. It has a lot of consistency. It tends to be a really, really good Pokemon, and it's in a lot of the top teams this meta. So without further ado, let's dive straight on into what makes Alteria good. So as of for move sets on Alteria, the preferred move set I like to use as of the current moment is a combination of Dragon Breath, Sky Attack, and Moonblast. Moonblast does so much damage. Moonblast is just such a good move. It's the common nuke that you use. You do need an Elite TM for it, which can be kind of expensive. So make sure when building your Alteria, you're making a good one because you're not only going to be spending 400 candies to evolve a basic Swablu into an Alteria, you're also going to be investing an Elite TM into it, which is a item that is kind of hard to get. That's not necessarily an easy item that you can grab out of the bag. And the nice part about this Pokemon is to give it its second move, it's nice and cheap. It's only like 10,000 dust as opposed to your normal like 75,000 to like 50,000. And just for that reason alone, it's one of the easier Pokemon to get a second move on, but it's one of the hardest to evolve. It is incredibly worth it, though, as Alteria has been super good before and has done amazing things in the Great League, mainly involving some of its matchups, which we'll get into here right in a second. Now, as of the moment, Alteria ranks 21st on the PvPoke.com competitive list. It has a lot of key wins, including Medicham, which is huge in the meta as of the current moment. It wins against Lantern, it wins against Noctowl, it wins against Trevenant, and it wins against Swampert. Lantern Noctowl core is really, really good, even in the meta like today. And a lot of teams will just beat Lantern, Medicham, Noctowl, I've come to learn. So just having Alteria to counter all three of them is huge because you can basically use two tanks to protect it for as of the most part. And then you just run around with double shields around it and it'll just clean up games, especially on that type of a team comp. It loses pretty hard to Azumarill, though, which has always been kind of its arch nemesis. Kind of goes same for Whaleren and Registeel. Galarian Stunfisk is a rough matchup for it. That goes same for Dunsparce. I have gone against Dunsparce with this Pokemon before. The best thing I've come to learn to deal with when it comes to a Dunsparce is to swap into a Pokemon that has some sort of fighting move to try and either knock it down or get it out of the way. In general, Dunsparce can be a tricky Pokemon to deal with, but in all, it's not too terrible, and you won't see it incredibly often. It has pretty good. Most people, when you're using it, you're either using it as a game ender or you're using it as a lead. Personally, if you are using it, I use it as a lead. I start with it or I use it as a, finisher. More than half the time, I'm comboing this Pokemon with Registeel or sometimes even Pelipper, depending on what I feel I need to help me grow in the Great League. And just in general, I've come to learn that Alteria is just really, really good. So, what moves do you want on it? As I said before, Dragon Breath, Sky Attack, Moonblast are the preferred moves. Dragon Breath is just the best one because it's multi-purpose and it's its best energy generating move. Peck is just not a good move. Sky Attack is just general damage. It's pretty good. Moonblast is the nuke that also has a debuff. You could run Dragon Pulse or Dazzling Gleam, I guess. But Moonblast is just a better version of Dazzling Gleam because it adds a debuff to the nuke. And then Dragon Pulse just takes so much energy. Yeah, you get extra stab for it, but in general, it's just a really expensive move. Suggested team comps for this Pokemon. Like I said, I always partner mine with my Registeel just because that's the one tank that I actually have kind of built. You can partner it with Swampert, Lickitung, Galarian Stunfisk, and Vigoroth. All of those are really, really good. In general, this Pokemon is a menace in Great League, and I definitely think that you should take the time to build one because it is really, really good. It also wins surprising matchups because it has an extremely unique typing. Being a Dragon Flyer, it surprisingly has a neutral matchup against Electric. For those of you who know how typings work, basically whatever is not effective to something and is super effective against something, it goes neutral. And whatever is super effective against something and something else is super effective against something, then that's double super effectiveness. And you can also get double resistance and Exonera. The reason why Alteria is so good is because having Dragon and Flying put together on the same Pokemon makes it neutral damage to things like Thunderbolt. Now, granted, you still want to be wary of what electric attacks you're going to be running into, especially with moves like Zap Cannon out and about. But other than that, there's a lot of just bulk that comes with this Pokemon, and it can eat a lot of the basic Thunder hits, which is why it has such a good matchup into Lantern. You do have to be extra careful though, because being a Dragon Ice, you do have a double weakness to Ice. That is something you absolutely have to watch out for. That's why Lairon and our Azumarill are super duper problematic for this Pokemon because they both have super great Ice moves. And Alteria also has a crippling weakness to Rock, which is why Galarian Stunfisk is on there as well. Registeel just does too much damage and has more bulk than Alteria does and has the better resistance. That's the only reason he actually counters Alteria. For the most part, I'd say Alteria is a very, very good Pokemon, definitely deserving of the 21st spot, if not even a little higher. Overall, I think Alteria is just a super solid Pokemon. Here are some team comps that I'm up with for running Alteria on the Great League. We got G-Fisk as a lead, followed up by Medicham and Alteria. We have Alteria as a lead, followed up by Lickitung and Registeel. Here is a Pelipper in the lead, followed up by Alteria and Registeel. Here is Stunfisk in the lead, followed up by Alteria and Noctowl. I find the bottom one, the one that's labeled GL4, to be the best one out of the bunch so far. Maybe GL2. I've been running the GL2 down here for a little while, and I've been getting a lot of dubs. I will continue to be using this team as I continue my journey up the Great League for as of the most part for this season. But I can see this bottom comp down here being Stunfisk, Alteria, Noctowl being extremely helpful and useful. Comment below what you think of Alteria. Comment below what kind of team comps or what you want to see. I'm dying to know. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.